Hello, hello, hello. So welcome. We're going to be going through the 10-step Tai Chi form. I'm going to be breaking it down into a series of videos, so it's done step by step, so you can see how the form goes together, and then we'll put a video together of the whole form from start to finish so that you can practice on your own. Yes. So this is going to be a breakdown of each of the movements where we'll go into a little bit of detail, not too much detail, because I mean if you've been doing it for a while it won't be too overwhelming, but there is a lot into each posture which can confuse beginners to start with. So we're going to be taking it at a nice steady pace, not going too deeply into the moves, just getting your body moving so that you can start to do the form all the way through. Okay, so this is a resource so that you can play with it and learn to do it, and then possibly come along to seminars or join in with classes where they do 10-step and learn to refine each of the movements. That's a good way of doing it. Tai Chi is a strange animal. You learn it, you learn the beginning movements and then continue to refine them over time, so it never ever stops. There's always another level of refinement that you can go for each movement, and although you're repeating the movements over and over again, each time you do the movement there is the opportunity to learn something different if you are willing to be present with the movements and pay attention and be present in your body as you do them. And that really is the essence of Tai Chi. Any kind of movement is exactly the same. When you learn a movement, you first of all you learn to move your arms and move in a direction, and then over time you kind of refine it and start to feel the mechanics and how everything works and how to put everything together and how to do the joined up writing bit, if you like. So we start off with the shapes or the letters and the words, and then you learn to join it all up and make it look, I won't say beautiful, because the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Make it look correct. Yes, that would be the way of putting it. Hello fellow dragons, let's get started. Our very first posture for all Tai Chi forms is the Wu Chi stance. It's not generally considered to be a move, so to speak, but it's probably one of the most important lessons you can learn, because it's from this point of stillness that all action, all movement can flow. We're trying to get ourselves into a point of stillness. Is a good way to look at it, but it doesn't mean stagnation, it doesn't mean static. Okay, it just means still, at rest, ready to move. So it is the ready posture, if you like. You are ready to do stuff without the intent of, I've got to move. Okay, I know I'm doing that my first movement, so I go. Yeah, like the man on the starting block where you're waiting for the gun to go and it's like, Wu Chi is where we can be in that place. So you're on the starting blocks, but you're waiting, you're resting, and as soon as you hear the gun, you go. Okay, and you can move. The intent is not inhibited by the thought of intent. Yes, so that you can move comfortably without actually having to do a predetermined set of movements. You know that when you start off you're going to be doing this, so there is a predetermined thing going on, but it's not, right, I've got to go into this now and I've got to do this and I've got to do that. It's a place of total rest. We find our shoulder width, so feet together, turn out the toes, turn out the heels. That's your natural shoulder width, and then just feel how that feels. Feel if you're comfortable, relaxing down through the body. Now when we say relax down, it's quite a difficult concept to get this, because we talk about relaxation, we talk about song, we talk about letting go and releasing, and the trouble with that is that you sort of like start doing this and you crush yourself down into your body and you are, I'm relaxing. Okay, that's a great exaggeration, but there is this kind of like, I'm relaxing the body, and you end up kind of compressing the upper body. You see how that works there? Instead of being upright here, you compress there. The actual release, relaxing, sitting down is done from the legs. So you're softening your feet and spreading the feet out onto the ground, so the metatarsals open up and the soft tissue in between opens. That creates a connection between body and earth, ground and feet. Okay, so it also helps you start to become more aware of the soles of your feet, allowing them just to spread out gently. You're not trying to make this happen. You don't try and force them You know, it's not spread them out. It's allow it to happen. And then just very gently become aware of whether you're leaning forward or back, side to side. And if you are, just allow your body to adjust so that your weight comes straight down through and out through the center of your feet, out through the soles. Okay, now don't let your knees crush in, don't push your knees out, don't lock your knees back. You're not standing upright here, locking them. They're bent, soft. The thighs then push down towards the floor, which allows you to sit. Okay, so that's the legs. We soften our ankles, the knees, and the hip joints, so the joints become open. The muscles release and relax and they sink down, so you get this fluid feeling of sinking down through the legs. But the bones need to remain upright. We're not trying to force our bones into the ground. We keep the bones floating upright so that they're comfortable. It's the muscles that soften and sink, so you create a stretch between bone and muscle. If you're just sort of like relaxing totally, you're not actually getting the benefit. You want to get this kind of feeling of there's that kind of dynamic tension. The legs are still ready to move, but they're not forcing to move. You're allowing yourself to settle. The upper part of the body, although we want the musculature and the soft tissues to sink down, we need the spine to stay erect. So we drop our tailbone as though we're sitting on a stool, but keeping the hips over the shoulders over the hips, but don't let them roll forward. So you're not there, and you're not pulling them back to attention. Okay, so as soon as I do that, you see how that sort of thrusts the chest out and it puts pressure on the hips to come forward here. We don't want that. We want to be sort of neutral. There is a very slight rounding in the shoulders, but it's not letting it come forward and it's not allowing the chest to crush down. Okay, so keep yourself upright. And the chin just tucks in very gently. Now again, this is a gentle thing. All you're doing is changing the orientation of the head so that the chin comes back, which stretches out the neck very gently and opens up the occiput here, the joint between the skull and the vertebrae. And then the head should feel as though it's suspended from the ceiling. Now what that does is it helps to open up the shoulders, helps to open up the chest cavity, and gives you a feeling of floating, a feeling of the spirit rising. But again, if you rise too much and you come up onto your toes, you no longer have stability. So Tai Chi is an art of duality. So we're creating this sinking sensation down through the legs. We're creating stability and structure in the legs so that you have a firm foundation with which to stand. But the upper body needs to remain upright, head suspended, chin tucked in, so that you don't crush down. A lot of the time, problems with Tai Chi comes in the shoulders because you round the shoulders too much and you're trying to be all this relaxed, and you see people, they're doing, oh, I'm relaxed in the shoulders, and they're not. Okay, it's here. Relaxing. Settling. And that way you can start to feel the jins. Okay, so feet shoulder width apart, knees off lock, dropping the tailbone, shoulders resting comfortably over the hips, tuck the chin, suspend the head. And then just allow all the soft tissue to sink like a fluid, as though the weight is sinking down or gravity is flowing down straight through your body out to the ground. And just stand for a moment and become aware of what's going on. So this is helping to create the connection between the mind, the body and the spirit, if you like. The Qi, the Yi, the Shen. So you allow your feet just to soften, settle onto the ground, spreading out naturally. Don't try and force anything to happen, don't try and make it happen. Allow it to happen. Softening the ankles, the knees and the hips, so you're finding your harmonies, allowing your body to move so that you can feel your weight transferring down through the muscles and out through the ground, and the bones feel light and expansive. Drop the tailbone so you're sitting on a stool so that the thighs bend and you're cooking the thighs here, allowing that to go, but don't let your knees come further than the edge of your toes. Shoulders resting comfortably over the hips, chin tucked in, head suspended. just going to stand like this for a moment and allow our breathing to start sinking deeper into the body. So that's just allowing the chest to relax and release, allowing the diaphragm to do the same, and the abdomen. So looking for areas where you're putting power into the body that you don't need to, and just letting go. So we're finding our physical alignments, getting that comfort. So you don't want to be leaning forward or backwards or favouring one leg over the other. Just become aware of what's going on with the body, taking the time to allow the mind to sink, the flesh to sink while the bones float. This we can play as a game at any time, really. I call it How Fast Can I Find My Alignments game. And we play it at the queue at the supermarket, or waiting for something, where you have to stand for any long periods of time. Take the time to find these alignments and do it in such a way that nobody really knows what you're doing. And be prepared to have to move. Be prepared to move into action, but you don't actually have to be ready. It's strange, it's like being ready to move without actually making any effort to move. Then when you have to move, you are ready to move and you just can, without actually sort of like, oh, is the cue going forward? You don't get any of that kind of jerkiness. You're allowing the body to rest, allowing the breathing to rest, allowing the mind to rest, and allowing the nervous system to rest. So this whole practice is probably one of the most important lessons of Tai Chi, and it's the one that gets overlooked because it's the very beginning and we don't actually class it as a movement. But Wu Chi, the Wu Chi stance, is actually really important from a Tai Chi point of view. So just continue to breathe for a moment, softening the body, keeping the bones floating upright, muscles release, relax. Relax, just come up, give the body a little shake. Because actually standing still is far harder than we give it credit for, especially when you're not used to doing it. Okay, so it takes time. One more time, find your shoulder width, feet together. Turn up the toes, turn up the heels. Soften the feet, soften the ankles, soften the knees, soften the hips. Let the tailbone drop. Chin tucks in, head suspended, and relaxing the shoulders, opening the elbows and the wrists. Let the arms become heavy, stretch out under their own weight. we have lesson 1. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that. More practice. I'll see you in the next one.